Yeah, Salman, you can continue.
Okay. Then I listen to the story. We realize our mistake as soon as of the farmer and tell story to our grandmothers and promised we will never fight again. I admitted listening to this story brought a huge change in my behavior and developed our relationship between my brother and sister. In fact, I have told this story letter to my nephew and niece and also many children. Overall, it is the story which is my favorite that I heard in my childhood, and I try to share this story with many children or young people. Yeah.
Okay, Salman, listen to the story, we realize. Not like this. Listening to the story. Here, listening to the story is present participle. So, of course, you have to add ing with listen. Then, son, not son. It will be son. Okay. Son, and the plural form is sons. Especially, not shally, especially. Almost okay, but try to use some advanced words. You are using very, very simple words. If you have intention for IELTS, of course, you have to add some advanced words in your space. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for you to do well in the exam.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Salman, thank you very much for your space. After many days, we have got Ilyas and T. I don't know who is it. Please use your name properly. Okay. Okay. Ilyas, you are permitted. Please unmute yourself, Ilyas.
Hi. Hello. Can you hear me?
Ilyas, your sound is clear to us. Are you ready for the topic? Would you like to describe it?
Oh, I'm really grateful to you, but right now I'm eating guava, so can I take it later? I just listen you all.
Sure. When you'll be ready,
Okay,
please send me a message. Okay.
Sure.
Then who is ready? T. Who is T? Please unmute yourself. T. Just introduce yourself if you are not ready. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Am I audible?
Yeah, your sound is clear. Just mention your name and where are you from?
Well, I'm Takia Sultan Atisha. I'm from Bangladesh, and I live in Brahmanbaria. Right now I am doing my bachelor in mathematics in a college which is affiliated with National University, and I joined in this group call because I wanted to participate in this session because I'm very keen to improve my speaking skill, because it has been long since I haven't practiced, and I appeared in the IELTS exam almost 2 years ago, but due to my because I haven't practiced a lot, so that is why I want to practice again with you guys. But right now I am a little bit nervous and I'm a little bit confused what to say on this topic. I think I need some time to go through these questions so that I can prepare myself.
Okay, no problem. You are permitted. You can take your time. If you are ready, then send me a message. I will permit you. And you speak very well, no doubt.
Thank you so much.
If you do regular practice with us, I think it will be okay for you. And we do classes 3 days in a week. Our next class will be one Sunday at 10:40 p.m. In BD time. Okay.
Oh, okay, sure. Thank you so much.
Okay. Naiba ma'am, now you can describe part 3, please. You are permitted, please.
Yes, teacher, part 3.
Yeah.
Did parents read stories to their children in your country? To be honest, yes, in my country, most of the parents like to read stories to their children because, as you know, stories helping the boosting the information or to learn the language more easily, and they can, as you know, the children like to listen the stories again and again. And why do children like stories? Like stories because they can see their and they can imagine this story, and also they like the actions, and that's why I think that the children like the stories. What can children learn from stories? Of course, they can learn moreover. As you know, they in the stores have the majority of the problems, and of course the solving the problems. Or you can also listen these stories about learning something interesting, or maybe the colors, numbers. And they can learn more from these stories. Do young children like the same stories as older children? Not actually, I don't think so. Cause in your the children like the other stories nowadays. Stories is changed, and because they in this the technology, the modern technology have the majority of the class, and they learn more from the stories, and of course there are more interesting stories in the internet, and that's why I think that this they don't like the old stories, and they want to learn new. But to my point of view, I think that old stories is a better than the new. Time to time, I change my mind, but for me, old stories is a better. What kind of the characters in stories do children admire most? As you know, it depends of the children, of course, but the main character, maybe the four boys, Spider-Man is the best character, and the fighting man, maybe, or the Batman and other characters is the best because they are fighting with the enemy. And of course, for the girls is the doll, or maybe the Cinderella. Maybe it's the character is the best for, and they admire, and of course they buy this their doll. And I think that this character is the fun of the children. How do people tell stories to children? Of course, it depends of the maybe the culture of the people, or depend on the person. Cause uh, some of the people like to say this, tell the stories via the internet, maybe via the video, or some of them like to tell the stories from the books, maybe, or reading the books, of course, or some nanny or the grandma like to say it by their heart. And of course, it depends on the people. How has technology changed the storytelling? Yeah, of course, technology has changed, and whenever, whatever you want, you can search from the internet. And I suppose that it's best to getting the stories. So you can read from the books, download from the internet, or um,
Any problem, ma'am? Extremely sorry, she has problem. Okay. Then who is ready for part 3? Partha Ghosh, you are permitted. Please unmute yourself, Partha Ghosh. This is your first day with us. Just introduce yourself, mention your name and your location.
Hi, I am Partha Ghosh. I am the newbie here. I don't know what to do. I just click the link and see something like that, and I really appreciate it. It's a good.
Where are you from? Where are you from, Partha Ghosh?
I'm from Bangladesh, and
Which part? Which district?
I'm from Dhaka. I'm from Dhaka.
Okay.
My birthplace is Faridpur, but I live in Dhaka.
Okay, for your kind information, we do here speaking practice and sometimes listening, and we do 3 days in a week, one Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And our classes normally start at 10:40 p.m. So if you're willing, you can join here. We do practice here the IELTS topic. Every day I select a new topic and I share it in our all groups. You have enough time to take a preparation, then you can share your ideas when I will start the class.
Okay, not able to. Sure thing, sure, obviously.
Okay, Pastor West, thank you very much. Ilyas, now you have to speak. Please unmute yourself. Ilyas, please.
Hello.
Yeah,
Can you hear
Ilyas. Yeah. Would you like to speak right now?
Okay. Should I start from part 3?
Your wish. If you would like to start from part 1, you are permitted. Otherwise, you can describe part 2 or 3. Which is comfort for you?
All right. Probably part 2 and part 3. I can go.
Okay. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Part 3. First question: your parents read the stories to their children in your country? Well, it is absolutely a common phenomena in my country, because we have been practicing a common practice that we are, listening some kinds of story which is very, ancestor and very affluent story from our family members, and literally it goes one generation to another generation. So that's why I must say that our parents absolutely follow this practice, and we often take it very vigorously. Why do children like the stories? Yeah, it gives some kinds of lesson, and as well as it always feel that like there is another turn, or there is another curve of the interest through these stories. And of course, children often fond of listening or finding the new things. So in this aspect, I believe that stories gives this sort of interest to all the children. What can children learn from stories, and how can children benefit from stories? Yeah, it is very interesting question, and I like to answer in this way that when often practice to listen stories, different kinds of, which comes from morality, comes of ethics, comes from community development. So it gives that moral feelings, moral vibes to their heart, as well as it gives that humanity work to the children mind. So all the aspect give some previous ideas as well, how to get uh, a turn back from the bad or the worst situation. So children can learn many things from these stories. Do young children like the same stories as older children? I don't think so. Uh, but there is a pretty common things that any kinds of story must be interested whether it comes from any ground. But I believe that children likes to listen their the very relevant as well as that equivalent to their interest. All in the other aspect, I think that older children, they like to listen different kinds of story where they get some kinds of interest to learn some technology, to learn some mechanism to get some idea or create a different aspect where they can make their idea uh, into the application. How do people tell stories to children? It has a different way. People like to share different kinds of stories, but I believe that when it comes to children to listen them any kinds of story, I believe that always we prefer soft stories that can teach them some kinds of morality, as well as it can make their heart a peace and calm. As a result, they can get some fresh vibe to their mind. How has technology changed storytelling? How has technology changed storytelling? It's really tough to answer, but in my way, I believe that this time we are not listening from our uh, parents or grandparents. This time we are reading we are reading on the PDF version or on the phones, and we get some stories of absolutely we can listen them. We don't need any person or our older person to listen any kinds of story. We can find different types of story from there. Can children tell the difference between real and fictional stories? Well, it's really tough to explain from. It's really tough to explain from a children what is the difference between real and fictional stories. But I believe that
stories. Fictional stories
yeah,
mean imaginary stories.
yeah, true. I believe that they can get their interest. They don't have any word to explain, but they get over their intention, over their interest, and they jump over that just because of having much interest similar to their mind, similar to their, I believe that habits or some kinds of interest they find. But I believe that they cannot explain so much just because of, they are not good at, finding some aspect that which would be good.
Okay. Okay, Elias, thank you very much for your space. I think that's all from your side, isn't it? Elias. Am I audible to you? Yes.
Sorry. Hello.
It's all?
Yeah.
Okay. I should mention something for you, that is any kind of stories must be interested. Actually, you can use interested in terms of person. You are interested, he is interested, or she is interested. But in terms of substance or any material thing, then you have to say interesting. Any kind of stories must be interesting. The film is interesting, the scenario is interesting, the poem is interesting, okay, the movie is interesting, like this. But the writer is he is interested, the writer is interested, like this. Okay. So then some ideas, of course, some ideas, not some idea. Some is a plural adjective, so your noun will be in plural form. Then different ways, not way, different is also a plural adjective. Of course, the noun will be in plural form. So be careful about it. Otherwise, your way of speaking, your diction, your pronunciation, everything is preserved. Thank you, Elias. After many days, you are with us. And right now, who is ready? Naiba ma'am, I should give you your feedback. One thing, you are, am I audible to you, Naiba ma'am?
Yes, I'm here. I have problem about the internet.
Stories are helping them. Help is always in indefinite form, not in continuous form. It's a non-continuous verb. So you must use it in indefinite tense or simple tense. So stories help them or always help them, like this way, not are helping. Okay. Then it depends. I don't know why you mentioned it several times. It depend. Maybe it's a slip of tongue. You know the rules, because in present indefinite tense, if your subject is third person singular number, of course you have to add yes or yes with your principal verb. So it depends on the children. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, ma'am, because you have examination and it is knocking at the door, so I should mention your mistakes.
Yeah, of course.
That's why I am repeating it. Okay, ma'am, thank you very much.
Thank you, teacher.
Who is now Partha Ghosh? Would you like to say something today? Or just you will remain with us as listener?
I guess I should stay without saying nothing today, because
Okay. Be our listener today. Okay, no problem. Salman, you are permitted for part 3, please. And do it first. And you must give your focus on your question and what is the demand of your question. So your answer should be in brief.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. I'll try to give the answer part 3. First question is, do parents read stories to their children in your country? I think it depends on perspective of view of the parents, because many parents are very busy with their job and other household works. So some parents cannot manage their times to read stories to their children in our country. But I think in countryside area, some parents try to read stories to their children, and they try to learn something with their children about their story, especially real story and fiction story. Next question: why do children like stories? Uh, Definitely, children like many types of stories, some fiction stories or real stories. But I think nowadays children like computer games. Others listening some stories from their grandfather or parents. But some children like stories to enhance their creativity or enhance their habits to read a book. Next question: what can children learn from stories? Uh, I think children learn many things from stories. That stories is science fiction or real history does not matter, but the children will be able to learn many things, and they can easily enhance their knowledge about historical things, historical person or historical place. Next question: do young children like the same stories as older children? On my perspective of view, children like the different stories from older children. because everything is day by day the same sense with time. So my mentality of children is on the types to read stories. Some is, some young children like to read fiction story and real story, but older children try to read computer related technological related stories or fiction type stories. Next question: what kind of characters in stories do children admire most? Uh, I think it depends on the mentality of the children, or it depends on different types of characters. Because one story and another story completely can be different. So children prefer to admire most real type and historical person related stories. And nowadays children try to read stories from about for foreign country or foreign places, and they try to describe many historical places as with their grandfather or parents. Next question: how do people tell stories to children? Uh, I think people tell stories to children. It can be historical about a historical place or about many types of activities related stories or movie types stories, because it depends on mentality of the children. And my nowadays the children prefer to watch many types of movies, and they can try to explain the types of stories from movie or from science fiction, something. Next question: how has technology changed storytelling? In my perspective of view, in town area, it changed storytelling for children, because technology is available in town area, and such as internet, computer and mobile phone. But in countryside area, storytelling is different from countryside from town area. And it because it depends on, because depends on situation. But I think technology changes storytelling from children to adult people. Next question: can children tell the difference between real and fictional stories? um, the from my I actually should mention is that children tell the difference between real and fictional stories, because they can easily many resources from online and such as mobile phone and computer, as for that reason they can easily identify difference between real and fictional. uh, the Yeah.
Uh, Salman, thank you for your space. You must write down your space before delivering your space here, because
Yes.
you are not speaking very well. You are practicing with us maybe about 2 months. So
Yeah.
your improvement should be developed very soon. Okay, try your level best to deliver your space perfectly. From our next class, if you spend a little bit time in your space, then it will be okay. You can write down your space, then record your space, then listen to your recording voice, and after this try to correct it. If you do it, I think within 1 week you'll be able to improve yourself. And if you don't do it, then it will be very difficult to change yourself. Okay, so be careful about it. Okay, dear participant, this is the end of our today's class because already you have completed your speech. So good night. Stay
Oh,
healthy,
dear,
of course.
dear,
Yeah.
host, we have a request to you.
Yeah.
After seeing the question, I can say, I think that maybe I could say something about the question of part 3.
Would you like to say something right now?
Yep, I like to, but if you have time, and not forcefully, I want to
Okay.
say something.
Okay. This as this is your first day with us, so you are permitted. Please finish it within 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, go ahead,
Okay.
please.
Thank you for me to say something. Thank you. The word part 3. I should speak from the part 3, right?
Yeah, sure.
Do the parents read stories to their children in our country? Oh yes, in our country, parents used to tell stories to their children. It's a we can say that in our country it's a like a custom. In our parents, as I am a total 19 kids, I used to hear stories from my grandma, and I think that on that time, even I should say that at right now, children are very likely to hear stories from their older person or older member of their family, from their families, especially for their grandparents. But parents also used to speak stories to their children as well. Why do children like stories? Oh, children are, we know that the children mind are so soft. They are very soft. They are very kind, and they always try to have something that affect their thought, or they thought that they think that everything is happen in real life, and they compare their stories to the real life. So they always like to hear something that is very familiar with them, that may happen around them, and that's why they like stories. What can children learn from stories? Okay. Actually, the story should be like that. It should contain some moral stories. It should be some moral stories which can be used to improve the children minds. Children grow up. Children may learn something new, something moral, something ethical from the stories. Story should be like that. Do young children like the same stories as older? No, I think so. I don't think so. Children children of different age actually likes different kind of stories. We can see that the children of younger age or young age like to hear something that is soft kind of stories, like very close to their heart, very close to them. They are likely to hear that kind of stories. But children with some a little bit younger or a little bit older try to hear some stories that may be used in their ideas, or used to their that may help to develop their ideology. That kind of story are very preferable for the children younger, that they are the older children. What kind of characters do stories to children admire most? Oh, the younger children actually it depends. Actually, it depends. The generally, as we can see, the girls are very likely to hear something, to hear stories related to fairy. What can I say? Fairy tales. Fairy tales are very familiar and very favorite to the girls. On the other hand, the boys always try to hear something. Something. What can I say? Something like that. Batman type stories, or like superheroes type stories. How do people tell stories to children? People tell stories to children. What should I say? People tell stories how? I didn't get this question actually. I should skip this question. How has technology changed storytelling?
People tell the story orally. Nowadays,
Okay.
People use technology. They can use audio or video for stories. Okay.
I got it. Okay. Yep. In the earlier, people used to tell stories orally, because they are that time there isn't that much technologies that can be, the story can be stored or can be recorded on that time. But now in this modern technology era, there are so many scopes to store or to record stories and upload internet, and can be downloaded from the internet and can be heard later. So the storytelling system has been changed literally. Technology changed the storytelling system. Obviously, I should go with this statement. Technology has changed the storytelling system, because nowadays we can find the soft copies of stories through the internet. We can download it, and all the children are also familiar with this internet-based system, and we know that even the children of very young age have the smartphone, and they know how to use internet, how to browse the Wikipedia and different large library system, e-library system, and they can download their preferable stories, storybooks, and read through the internet. Can children tell the difference between the real and fictional stories? No, I don't think so. Children actually can be able to tell about the difference between the real and the fictional stories. If they can, then they shouldn't hear the stories. Actually, they didn't understand. They don't understand. Is it real or fictional? That's why they hear it. They relate it to themselves, and they found it very. They find it the story. They find the stories very similar to them and very near to them, next to them. That's why they like to hear stories. So if they find the difference between the real and fictional stories, I think they shouldn't hear the stories. That's all.
Okay. Parthu Ghosh, thank you very much for your space. This is your first day with us. In spite of that, you have done very well. You have courage and quality to express anything. Because without taking preparation, it's very tough for anyone to speak properly. In spite of that, you have done well. However, I should mention some mistakes for you. That is, affect and effect. Effect is a noun.
Yep.
So you can't say that effects. You have to say that affects. Okay. Affect is a verb and effect is a noun. Okay. Then you can say stories should have morals which can share a message to the readers. You can make the sentence like that way. And yeah, the other parts of your speech are almost okay. Though it is your first day, in spite of that, your mistakes are only a few. Yeah, Muntasir, please go ahead. Would you like to say something?
Sir, can I leave?
Yeah. Now I'm going to end the class. So dear participant, thank you very much for your participation here. Our next class will be on Sunday. So thank you.
Assalamualaikum, sir. Good night. Has a nice dream.
Yeah, good night.